Good day everyone. Today I will be presenting my design of experience project, a 0 to 9 digital counter circuit using the NE555 timer and the CD4026 decade counter IC. I will be walking you through the entire process from understanding the circuit, building it in the simulation software or Proteus, all the way to assembling it on a physical breadboard. I hope you find this presentation both informative and interesting. So let's get started. The goal of this project is to build a working digital counter that displays numbers from 0 to 9 on a 7 segment display. The circuit has two push buttons, a count button that increments the display by 1 each press, and a reset button that returns the display back to 0 instantly. The whole circuit runs on a single 9-volt battery, making it simple and portable. Here are all the components used in this project. The two main ICs are the NE555 timer and the CD4026 decade type counter. The 7-segment display is a common cathode type, meaning all the negative legs of the segments share a common ground connection. We also have several resistors of different values, two capacitors, two push buttons, and of course the 9-volt battery. Each component plays a specific role in making the circuit work, which I will explain as we go through the presentation. Before building anything, it is important to understand how the circuit works at a high level. The signal flow starts with the count button. When pressed, it triggers the NE555 timer, which outputs one clean pulse. The pulse goes into the CD4026 decade counter, which increments its internal count by 1 and drives the 7-segment display to show the correct digit. The 220 ohm resistor sit between the CD4026 and the display to limit the current going into each segment, protecting the display from damage. The reset button connects directly to pin 15 of the CD4026, which when pressed immediately clears the count back to 0. The NE555 timer is configured in monostable mode, which means it has one stable state, low. When it receives a trigger signal, it outputs a single high pulse for a fixed duration, then returns back to low. This is extremely important for our circuit because of a phenomenon called button bounce. When you physically press a push button, the metal contacts inside do not make one clean connection. They rapidly bounce and connect dozens of times in just a few milliseconds. Without the 555 timer, the CD4026 would count each bounce as a separate pulse and the display would jump multiple numbers per press. The 555 timer solves this by producing exactly one controlled pulse regardless of how noisy the button press is. The duration of the pulse is determined by the formula T equals 1.1 multiplied by the resistance and the capacitance values connected to pins 6 and 7. The CD4026 is a decade counter IC, meaning it counts in decades, from 0 to 9. It receives the clock pulse from the 555 timer on pin 1 and increments its count on each rising edge of the pulse. It has built-in segment decoding, which means it automatically drives the correct segments of the 7-segment display to show the right digit without needing any additional logic circuits. Some important pins to note are pin 2, the clock inhibit pin, which must be connected to ground to allow counting. Pin 3, the display enable input, must be connected to VCC to activate the display output. And pin 15, the master reset pin, which when pulled high, instantly resets the count back to 0. Before building the physical circuit, I first built and tested it in Proteus. which is an electronic circuit simulation software. Simulating the circuit first is important because it allows you to verify that your design is correct before spending time and money assembling real components. In the simulation, I was able to confirm that pressing the count button incremented the display correctly from 0 to 9 and back to 0, and that the reset button immediately cleared the display. I also use voltage probes in Proteus to verify that the 555 timer was outputting a clean pulse to the CD4026 IC. The simulation phase was not without its challenges. The first major problem I encountered was with the reset button. The initial wiring had a pull-up resistor on pin 15 which kept the reset pin permanently high, meaning the counter was constantly being reset and the display was stuck at 0. I fixed this by changing the resistor to a pull down configuration so pin 15 stays low normally and only goes high when the reset button is pressed. I also discovered that pin 2 of the CD4026, the clock inhibit pin, was not connected to the ground, which was preventing the counter from counting at all. These simulation errors taught me the importance of carefully checking every single pin connection before moving on to the hardware. After confirming the simulation worked correctly, I moved on to building the physical circuit on a solderless breadboard. The process starts with placing the IC first, making sure the orientation is correct by aligning the notch or dot on the IC to the correct side. Then I added the power connections to VCC and ground, followed by the timing components for the 555 timer. Then the segment resistors and the display. And finally, the push buttons. Following a structured order like this makes it much easier to trace wiring errors later. Building the hardware introduced a completely new set of challenges that did not appear in simulation. The first was button bounce. Even though the 555 timer was supposed to debounce the button, the display was still jumping multiple numbers per press. After troubleshooting, I found that the 22 microfarad capacitor on the trigger pin was causing the 555 to re-trigger itself after each press. Removing that capacitor solved the problem. Another interesting problem was a dead row on the breadboard. Pin 1 of the CD4026 was inserted into a row where the internal metal clip was damaged. So no signal could pass through even though everything looked correctly wired. Moving the IC to a different position on the breadboard fixed this. These hardware challenges taught me that the real components and the breadboards can behave very differently from the simulation. Good day. My name is Cecil Maria Membrador and this is my circuit demo for the 0 to 9 digital counter. This is a 0 to 9 digital counter circuit built on a breadboard using a NE555 timer, a CD4026 decade counter IC, and a 7-segment display powered by a 9-volt battery. We also have capacitors 1 UF capacitor, and 22 UF capacitor. So we also have resistors, 220 ohms, 10K ohms, 100K ohms, and 1 million ohms. So you can see when I connect the battery, the display immediately shows 0, meaning the circuit is powered and ready to count. So pressing the count button increments the display by 1 each press. The NE555 timer ensures each button press produces only one clean pulse, preventing false counts from button bounce. Once it reaches 9, the next press automatically rolls it back to 0. The second button is the reset button. No matter what number is displayed, pressing it instantly returns the counter back to 0. That is the 0 to 9 digital counter circuit, simple, clean, and fully functional. This project gave me several important lessons about electronics design. First, always simulate before building. Proteus helped me catch multiple wiring errors before I even touch a real component, saving a lot of time. Second, every control pin must have a defined state. Leaving pins like clock inhibit or display enable floating causes unpredictable behavior that is very difficult to diagnose. Third, real hardware has problems that simulations simply cannot predict, such as dead breadboard rows and capacitor tolerances behaving differently in practice. And finally, systematic troubleshooting is essential. By testing one section of the circuit at a time, I was able to isolate each problem quickly instead of being overwhelmed by the whole circuit at once. So, in conclusion, this project was a great hands on experience in electronics design and troubleshooting. The final circuit works exactly as intended. Pressing the count button increments the display from 0 to 9, and the reset button immediately clears the count back to 0. Beyond just building the circuit, this project helped me develop important skills in reading datasheets, using simulation software, assembling hardware, and most importantly, thinking systematically when things go wrong. I am proud of the final result and I look forward to applying these skills to more complex circuits in the future. Thank you.